Were you a big fan of FastPass Plus and now heading to the park for the first time since the new system has been unveiled? If so, you may want to stick around. Hey everybody, this is Tommy within a Disney State of Mind. We've been going now for a little while on social media, on Facebook. You can join our group, and we've been asked a few questions, and I've enjoyed getting to interact with you guys. But today we've been asked one that I can't simply respond in a quick typed response, and that is the question, what is Disney Genie? You may look at Genie Plus and think on the surface that it's exactly like the old FastPass Plus system, but that's not it at all, because when we look at Genie, what it actually is, it's basically three different services, three different options that you can use that come together under one name. The first way to use Genie is to use the free Genie service. This is sometimes referred to as Freeney by Disney fans and vloggers. What Freeney is a free Disney Genie service that works an awful lot like the Waze app would if you were driving a car. If you've ever used Waze, it basically tells you ways to be able to get around traffic jams, accidents. It kind of gives you the fastest way to get where you're going. Whenever you're using the free Genie service, you can actually go in well before your trip. As soon as you get a park pass reservation, you can go under My Disney Experience if you have the app, and you can click on Genie, and you can begin to build your day. What it does is it takes your favorites into consideration. So if you really want to ride Haunted Mansion, you can click Haunted Mansion as your ride. If you really want to be able to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Space Mountain, any of those things, you can go through and click on them, and it's basically going to give you recommendations as to when the best time is to go. Now, in theory, this should work great, but the problem is that it doesn't. Our experience with the free Disney Genie app is that it doesn't do a very good job at all. Very often you'll put in things that you want to ride, your suggestions come up quite different. And you may even see a thing that you put in that you wanted to ride that has a very low wait time, but yet Disney Genie is going to recommend something else to you. And so we have not had good luck in the parks with the free Disney Genie service when it comes to riding rides or attractions. However, it doesn't mean that it's completely useless. We've had a lot of amazing luck with it when it comes to dining. It can give you suggestions for when the next pickup windows are. It can tell you good times to order food. It can even tell you dining availability throughout the park. And so even though it doesn't work the way that it is said to work, or at least it didn't for us the several times that we've tried it, it's not completely useless. It does work great for dining. But beyond that, your normal intuition, you guys that have visited the parks before, and you can kind of feel the flow of the parks. You can pay attention to wait times, use the tips that you've picked up over the years. If you're in that boat, you can probably get around the parks a whole lot better by using your knowledge of the parks than you can by using the free Disney Genie service. The next way to use Genie is by purchasing Disney Genie Plus. Now, what Genie Plus is a paid service. It's $15 per person per day, and it gives you access to lightning lanes. Now, the lightning lanes are available for most rides in the park. However, each park has two rides that are considered fancy rides or individual lightning lane attractions, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, if you're budgeting for this service, understand that it doesn't cost a flat $15. It does actually add tax on it also, and so you need to be prepared for that as you're budgeting. We've had amazing luck with Genie Plus once we learned how to use it. The first few times that we tried to use it in the park, we did the thing that looked like it made the most sense, and what that was to book the first available ride that you could. Because as soon as you tap into the ride with your Magic Band or either tap in with your phone, it immediately gives you the availability to book another lightning lane. And so the first few times we used it, we tried to just get in as many rides as we could. And so we would book the earliest ride we could, tap in, book the earliest next ride we could, tap in, book the earliest next ride we could, tap in, and so on. What we didn't know is that Disney would very quickly run out of these Lightning Lane selections. And so what that meant is that we never got to ride any of the rides that were going to be high demand. Because by midday, we may have been looking for a high demand ride and the Lightning Lanes for the day were completely gone. So the next time we went back, we decided that we would try a different approach. We decided to book the thing that we wanted to ride the most. And so our first experiment with this happened to be in Hollywood Studios. So we woke up that morning, we purchased Disney Genie Plus. At 7 o'clock a.m., we were able to book our very first Lightning Lane, and we booked Slinky Dog Dash. Now, granted, it filled up very quickly. When we first went to click on it, it said that we could ride it at 11:30, but by the time we finalized everything, it was after 4 before we could get on it. Now, that seems counterintuitive because you think, hey, I've got this 4 o'clock, this 4:15 ride. What am I going to do with Genie the rest of the day because I've paid for this service? How am I going to use it? Well, what you have to remember about Disney Genie Plus is that you can book another one as soon as you tap into a ride, but you can also book it after the 120-minute rule. What that means is after you book a ride, 120 minutes later, 2 hours, no matter if you've used that selection or not, you may book another one. Now, this doesn't mean that the clock starts at 7 a.m. when you might have booked that ride. It doesn't mean at 9 you can book another one. What that means is after the park opens, 2 hours later, you can book another one. So in the case of Hollywood Studios, where we booked Slinky Dog Dash, it opened at 9, even though I made the selection at 7. It opened at 9, so that meant at 11 o'clock, I could make another selection. At 11 o'clock, I happened to book Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and it was for the afternoon also. I waited another 2 hours. And at 1 o'clock, I booked another one. And so we stopped and we went and ate lunch, and then that meant in the afternoon, I was able to ride a whole lot of high profile rides, a lot of these e-ticket rides that everyone wants to get on. We were able to do all that afternoon. We tried this method again in Magic Kingdom, where we booked Peter Pan. It was later in the day. We booked Big Thunder Mountain. It was later in the day. We were able to book Jungle Cruise pretty early that morning. But we were able to use the service that way. And so you can use it where every 2 hours you can book another ride. And as soon as you use that ride, you are able to book another ride. And so make sure that when you use the Genie service, you're going to be tempted to ride thing after thing as quickly as you can. And you may want to do that if you have small children. However, we found for our family that the best thing for us to do would be book those high profile rides that we definitely wanted to get on, and then throughout the day, every 2 hours, go ahead and book another ride so that we could continue through the day and have a really amazing afternoon in Disney parks. The third way that you can use Disney Genie is through Individual Lightning Lane attractions. These are what a lot of vloggers call fancy rides. And this is where you are literally paying to get on one ride. Now, you can buy these Individual Lightning Lane attractions without purchasing Disney Genie Plus. You don't have to buy the Plus service and add the individual lanes. You can add the individual lanes straight from the free Genie service. And so you can do them both, and you can do them together, or you can do either or. What this does is it allows you access to the one of the 2 most popular rides in a park. Each of the park has 2 of these rides that qualify for Individual Lightning Lane attractions, and you're going to pay to ride that one ride with that purchase. Now, this gets a little complicated and a little interesting because when you are not staying on property, you can book these at park open time. So what that means is that if you're going to Hollywood Studios and you want to ride Rise of the Resistance and you're not staying on property, you cannot try to book Rise of the Resistance until 9 o'clock. What's the problem? All of the Lightning Lanes are gone by then, because folks that are staying on property can begin booking them at 7. And in our experience, Rise of the Resistance is going to make it to about 7:15 in the morning at the latest. So even if you get on right at 9 o'clock, not staying on property, you can't get one of these. Now, when you look at some of the other individual Lightning Lane attractions like Space Mountain, we've been able to grab one of those late in the day, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Some are still available. With Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you're going to be somewhere in the middle. We've seen them usually run out mid-morning-ish, 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And so if you want to utilize the individual Lightning Lane attractions and pay per ride, one, make sure that you get on as early as you can. In other words, if it is 7 o'clock because you're staying on property, do it. If it's at park open because you're not staying on property, do it. But number two, make sure that you are ready to commit to pay for the ride, because there is no cancellation policy on those. And so if you purchase a Space Mountain, you get to the park, it's time for you to ride, and you find out that the wait time is only 15 minutes, you paid for that individual Lightning Lane, you're not going to be able to get a refund on it. So make sure that you do that. And so it's kind of a catch situation where you need to kind of weigh out, how important is this ride to me and can I get on it? Now, in the instance of like Rise of the Resistance, make certain if one is available, if you want to pay for it, get it, because I promise it's going to be a long wait. Last time we were in the parks, we saw Rise of the Resistance get up to 3 hours plus. We were able to ride it in 50 minutes because we waited until closing. But those rides, if you want to ride them at popular times in the park, make sure that you get those if you want them, if you don't want to wait in that standby queue, because they're going to go fast. I hope this video was able to shed a little bit of light on the Disney Genie service. I know that it's complicated. I know that it's going to take some time to figure out, but with a little help and a few tricks, you'll be able to master the service and be able to use it to the best of its ability. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Again, this is Tommy, and thank you for hanging out as we all live in a Disney state of mind. Bye, guys.